Okay, so this is interesting and something I've seen quite a bit of. Sil here, a regular viewer and listener of the channel, appreciate you. Kara Lawson, Duke is getting beat up by non-ranked teams this year with a 3-3 record. Should we be worried? And that is in reference to Team USA. That's kind of been the sentiment I've seen out there. Duke struggles, therefore the wrong coach hire was made for Team USA by Sue Bird. If you're unaware, Sue Bird, now the managing director of USA Basketball, and Kara Lawson, now the head coach of USA Basketball.
The whisper began almost instantly, as it always does. A coach who had just finished an unsuccessful college season was abruptly given the reins to Team USA. And not just any Team USA, but the squad that includes Caitlin Clark. The stakes couldn't be greater, and you can be sure that fans went crazy on social media and in forums, demanding answers. Everyone was thinking about a straightforward but terrible question. Was this an impending catastrophe? Duke's record wasn't the only reason for the uproar. It was a deep-seated anxiety about the enormous, nearly intolerable strain and the future of American basketball as a whole being positioned atop its largest and most significant star. The national team's eagerly awaited training camp and the forthcoming Olympic cycle were thrown in a long, dark shadow by this backlash, which immediately generated a viral debate. It soon became impossible for anyone to ignore the sheer amount of worry and the overwhelming wave of mistrust.
Ranked teams, but South Florida is a loss as well. West Virginia is a loss as well. So not a great start for Duke. But here's the reason I push back a little bit. Because college coaching to me, a lot of times is just so much more about recruiting than it is about actual coaching. It's about the talent that you have on your team. And I don't know, enough. Let me first of all say I haven't watched enough Duke to say like what the coaching pros and cons have been.
Let's face it, Duke's startling 3-3 record at the beginning of the season was the ideal starting point. We're discussing shocking, perplexing defeats to unranked teams like West Virginia and South Florida. This became instant ammo for the naysayers. The question was repeatedly asked. How could Kara Lawson, who is currently the head coach of the world's most successful basketball team, possibly explain such a difficult, unsteady start at the collegiate level? The story developed quickly, and it was horrible. A coach who was clearly having difficulty winning at the collegiate level couldn't possibly be prepared to deal with the best talent in the world. A roster full of elite players. This was presented as more than just a bad record. There was a genuine fear that Team USA's long-standing dominance was now substantially in jeopardy because it was perceived as a clear criticism of her preparedness for the global stage.
If it wasn't for Kara Lawson, I wouldn't be thinking about Duke at all. But here's the real truth of it. She doesn't have to recruit for Team USA. So any of what I just said is irrelevant, right? Because we already know the roster and talent. So this is about whether she can coach it. And I doubt Sue Bird makes a choice like that without the confidence in Kara Lawson. And I think, there's a level of respect that she's garnered and gained throughout her career. And just take a look at the roster for a second. Here's the Team USA roster for the training camp. This isn't the Olympic. But
here's the problem, though. That story of doom and gloom did not sit well with everyone. Many experts and insiders quickly retaliated, pointing out that the online outcry appeared to be totally ignoring the significant contrast between professional and college coaching. They contended that college basketball is frequently much more about the rigorous year-round grind of recruiting than it is about creating complex, genius-level moves. Your team's success is literally determined by your skill pool rather than just the strategic acumen of the coach on the sidelines. They asserted that Lawson's true abilities were being distorted by this fundamental difference, this essential truth of the sport, which was being completely and utterly overlooked in the wild rush to judgment. The actual question was whether the most important aspect of the entire coaching interaction was overlooked by the entire online maelstrom.
For the national team, and you can see it's superstar laden. One thing that's super interesting is Caitlin Clark wearing 17, because you're so used to her wearing 22 that it stands out when you see she's got a different number. But I've said for a while, I think this 28 team, we're only coming up on 2026, so there's a little bit of time before the Olympics. But this 28 team is going to be a bit of a dream team, I think. Not quite the same. I don't want to oversell it because there was such a spectacle to the 92 Barcelona team that went there because, the pros for the first time and magic.
And the decision makers in this scenario must be taken into account. Sober, USA Basketball's managing director, does not make snap decisions. With his eyes wide open and full of confidence, he took this crucial decision. It would be a significant misinterpretation of the extraordinary complexity of their evaluation process to even imply that this was a quick decision based only on a few early college games. During her career, Carl Lawson has gained the respect and confidence of those at the top levels of the sport. This wasn't a last-minute, desperate risk. No, this was a well-thought-out strategic maneuver supported by a strong and unwavering faith in her strategic acumen and leadership abilities. It appeared that the public response had neatly managed to ignore her lengthy and illustrious career in the game, despite her college team's early missteps.
Sell it because there was such a spectacle to the 92 Barcelona team that went there because, the pros for the first time and Magic and Bird and Jordan and Charles Barkley and all that. But I say that because this team will be composed of a lot of the players, namely Caitlin Clark, who came up in this rapid rise era. But you get there in the backcourt, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins, right? The young superstars, along with whatever remaining veterans are still in their prime at that point. So I don't want to call them old.
Naturally, there is also the Caitlin Clark aspect. She is more than simply a player. She is the most well-known figure in basketball and a genuine cultural phenomenon. Her participation in the national team training camp roster, which is already full of established superstars and amazing up-and-coming prodigies, immediately increased the coach's scrutiny 1,000-fold. She is now scheduled to wear number 17 for Team USA. All of a sudden, fans were doing more than just watching Lawson. They were observing Clark's every move, evaluating every interaction that was caught on camera, and breaking down every possible error. The new coach was already under heavy scrutiny, now 10 times enlarged. All because of the current basketball legend. Because of this new reality, any perceived hardship or small problem might potentially go viral quickly.
But the basic premise is it will be a changing of the guard in favor of more dynamic guards, which is kind of the way that the game has gone. And it will be the Caitlin Clark team alongside, the other. Think about that poster. And I know, they promoted it, and they used Kelsey Plum and Kalia Copper and I forget who the other one was on the graphic. And some people were like, oh, not some people. It was Christine Brennan who said, they should have featured Caitlin Clark on the graphic.
When you take a close look at the Team USA training camp roster, it tells a compelling tale in and of itself. With seasoned veterans and well-known players like Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, and Angel Reese, it is a true dream team in the making. The important thing to remember is that Lawson does not need to go out and recruit for this team. The top talent is already present in the premises and prepared to work. Her sole responsibility is to coach this amazing group of athletes. All of the debates and anxiety around her ability to recruit at Duke are fully refuted by this one important fact unimportant, putting all of the emphasis on her capacity to lead and develop elite talent that has already been put together for her.
Talent. And some people were like, oh, not some people. It was Christine Brennan who said, they should have featured Caitlin Clark on the graphic. I'm not getting worked up over stuff like that. To me, that was them showing players who were there and won gold in the last Olympics. Caitlin Clark has been invited to the camp. It's, there's no more controversy there. Caitlin Clark will be on the team. Caitlin Clark will be the starting point guard for that team, barring anything strange and out of the ordinary. This is the graphic that was shown that I just referenced. Kelsey Plum.
One intriguing feature that went viral right away was the image of Caitlin Clark wearing the number 7. Consider it. Because fans are so accustomed to seeing her in her signature number 22, the shift became a major topic of conversation right away. It emphasized how closely every action she took, even something as basic as her jersey number, was scrutinized. The small change was emblematic of her official move from being the center of her universe and a collegiate superstar to joining the national squad. It generated a great deal of excitement and further cemented her place in the Team USA story, making her an inevitable viral topic.
For the actual Olympics, but she ain't going to be the only coach on the sideline, let's put it that way. And it would almost take active sabotage. The rest of the world's getting better now. Don't get me wrong. It's not quite like it is on the men's side, but we saw, France gave the U.S. a run for their money in the gold medal game in 2024. But the rest of the world is getting better. It's no longer the gap that it once was, but it's also not quite where it is on the men's side where, you don't know, no matter how talented the team is. So I wouldn't have too many Duke doubts about Kara Lawson as the coach of Team USA.
According to experts, there will be a significant shift in leadership during this new phase of Team USA, which is expected to culminate around the 2026 or 2028 Olympics. It is now more about a dynamic, potent influx of youthful, highly identifiable talent than it is about the old guard of entrenched domination. A whole new generation of fans and an unparalleled level of visibility are brought about by players like Watkins, Bookers, and Clark, who are crucial to this huge change. Every facet of the team, particularly its coaching and the performance of its budding stars, will be closely examined from every angle thanks to this dynamic potential angle. Although many advise against overselling it to the level of the storied 1992 Barcelona men's squad, the Dream Team comparison is extremely powerful. This new women's version will undoubtedly have a comparable, if not larger, cultural influence. Players like Caitlin Clark, who literally sprang to prominence during this tremendous surge in women's basketball popularity, make up this group. Their mere presence ensures intense, constant attention, guaranteeing that any perceived conflict, difficulty, or controversy will instantly blow up on social media and become a must-discuss viral topic. Additionally, while the United States of America has a long history of dominance, winning gold medal after gold medal, this moment is much more than just continuing that run. The exceptional recognizability of this roster's skill is what really makes it significant, especially with Clark at its core. Millions of people have already been enthralled by these stars, who are spearheading a new age in basketball. Every element of the team, including the coach's intense spotlight, is elevated to a whole new level of public scrutiny and expectation thanks to their combined star power. There are so many names on the list that have a strong emotional connection with fans. You have Paige Bookers in addition to Clark. The list also includes Jackie Young, another extraordinary talent, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Ree, and Guju Watkins. Young and Clark Bookers might be in the starting lineup, according to experts. A mix of seasoned pros and up-and-coming young talent that promises an unmatched level of interest and guarantees that every play, every coaching choice, and every player contact will be closely monitored. Revered veterans like Ozza Wilson and Brittany Gurrier, as well as possibly future legends like Breanna Stewart who might age out or convert into a mentorship role, were conspicuously missing from this training camp roster. By the upcoming Olympic Games, this emphasizes the strategic shift toward more dynamic guards that are appropriate for the current game and the scheduled guard change. A change that reinforces Clark's indisputable vital role in the team's future and highlights the significance of young talents like her. It is generally accepted that Caitlin Clark will start at point guard for Team USA, barring any unanticipated events. This is the general opinion among insiders, not simply fan conjecture. For Coach Kara Lawson, this one information significantly raises the stakes. Clark's leadership from the point guard position will go beyond simply creating tracks, dictate the team's offensive plan and tempo, making her the center of attention for all analysis and, thus, putting tremendous pressure on the coach to make the most of her extraordinary talent. Even a small controversy involving a training camp promotional design soon acquired momentum. Some commentators, such as Christine Brennan, contended that Caitlin Clark ought to have been given more attention rather than Kelsey Plum, Kalia Copper, and Jackie Young. The episode clearly demonstrates the strong public need for Clark's visibility and the instantaneous virality of any perceived wrong or error involving her, even though several people disregarded it as unimportant. Each and every. Now, a single decision is multiplied 1,000,000 times over. Kelsey Plum, Kalia Copper, and Jackie Young were among the athletes highlighted in the aforementioned graphic who had won gold at prior Olympics. Even if that choice is legitimate in and of itself, the controversy it generated only served to highlight the public's unquenchable desire for Clark before to her actual Olympic debut. This demonstrates her special, nearly uncontrollable infectious ability. It is now expected that the team's greatest attraction will be included in any visual depiction. Sarah Strong, a bright young woman, is another intriguing name on the enlarged list, player who, by the following Olympics, may be a rookie. Diana Taurasi and Brittany Gurrier both made the team in their first professional season, despite the fact that rookies typically struggle to make the final squad. This option keeps the fan debate lively and adds another level of excitement to the roster construct, further highlighting the influx of new talent. Most importantly, Carol Lawson won't be handling this high-stakes situation by herself. For the training camp, she has a strong support team that includes court instructors like Stephanie White, Natalie Nass, and Nate Tibbetts. This denotes a significant commitment and investment. From basketball in the United States, it guarantees she will have enough of professional help, even though the final staff may be different. The idea that her personal troubles at Duke would somehow translate to an ill-prepared solo coaching endeavor on the international scene is totally dispelled by this collaborative approach. The world of women's basketball is likewise undergoing significant change. Other countries are unquestionably improving, even though the USA's dominance isn't being challenged to the same degree in the men's game. For instance, in a recent competition, France put up a fierce fight for the gold medal. Team USA cannot afford to remain complacent given the increasing level of competition. The stakes are bigger than ever, and international competitors searching for any opening will amplify any perceived vulnerability, particularly regarding the coach or a crucial player like Clark. In the end, it seems that Carol Lawson's record at Duke was a major contributing factor to the skepticism surrounding her as the coach of Team USA. The outstanding quality of pre-selected talent, the substantial support personnel, and the very framework of foreign coaching all point to a well-supported, carefully thought-out endeavor. It is extremely improbable that this team will fail or that aggressive sabotage will occur. Despite becoming viral, the worries appear to. When you consider the entire context, it is essentially out of place. The goal is still to make the most of this team's extraordinary potential, particularly Caitlin Clark's transformative, game-changing presence. The widespread discussion around Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff of Team USA has exposed a fervent, intensely involved fan base that is closely examining every aspect. Although there was a significant backlash against Carol Lawson's college performance as a result of those first reactions, a closer examination of the Team USA setup, the roster's overwhelming skill, and the critical distinction between college and international coaching paints completely different image. With Caitlin Clark at its electrifying core, the carefully assembled super team is poised to dominate the global stage and carry the torch of American basketball into a new, brilliant, and highly watched era. This is the real story here, not a struggling coach.